Welcome everyone to this Cortado Cup of Coffee podcast with me, your host Tom Dillon. This has been recorded live at our Tin Pot Mobile Studio and broadcast around the world. Today's topic is not really a topic; it's more of a chat, really. But today's topic, for what it's worth, is from sourcing to social impact. I nearly said social housing then because the words go quite nicely together. How to build a property business for good with a capital G, with Dr. Anna Attlee. With regards to Anna, who kindly joins us today, I've got some words. The words say, Dr. Anna Attlee is an academic turned entrepreneur who is co-founder of successful UK wildflower garden product brand Seedball. I imagine if it wasn't successful, we wouldn't be mentioning it, so maybe we don't need successful. But anyway, as well as a training company that's now trained over 15,000 researchers from more than 200 institutions in 55 countries. That's a blizzard of impressive numbers, isn't it? To increase their impact. She has been involved in over 200 property transactions, often as passerby. No, I'm sure it's been more exciting than that, and I'm looking forward to finding out more, including building a system that sourced 100 properties in just over a year. Her property expertise spans the BRRRR method. I know what 3 of the R's are, I'm excited to find out what the 4th one is. High yield it might be a typo. High living, I don't think it is though. High yield co-living HMOs and partnering with local authorities to provide ethical emergency housing. Driven by a passion for property and business for good, Anna uses her enterprises to fund long-term ecological stewardship through her conservation initiatives. The Maya Project, that's M-A-Y-A. Hello, Anna.
That was a mouthful.
Wasn't it?
I always sound like I don't sleep or something. I can assure everybody that I do sleep.
Do you always get your full 8 hours?
Do I always? Yeah. You know, I never used to, which we were starting to talk about earlier. I was like, one of my major things was trying to get down as much sleep as possible, so like I could minimize my sleep schedule to like 4 or 5 hours. And let me tell everybody that is a mistake and not something to ever go back to. So no, I do get my full 8 hours now.
Yeah, it's massive, isn't it? And when you realise that you're going at it the wrong way, because I certainly did that, where you're like, right, the only thing that can possibly give here is sleep. If you ever, anyone listening, I think we're both agreeing with each other here. If you get, and lots of people get to that stage, you're like, the only thing possible way to improve this whole charade, this monster that I've built is with cutting down sleep. It's an error. You are mistaken. There are other things you can do.
Massive error in the system. People don't do that. I was so proud of myself. I'm like, if I don't do this and I keep to a keto diet and like, what else did I do? Like, oh, I must have like eat clean and blah blah blah. Then I could shave off another half hour of my sleep schedule. No,
No,
it was
we're not
about.
designed like that.
Yeah, it's madness, isn't it? So
Well, getting
yeah.
straight into the madness, and this isn't the way I plan to go with it, but that's the good thing about a plan, is that I always forget them. Which is, I had the pleasure of listening to your podcast, which I'm sure we'll reference more than once, which was excellent, and people should check it out if they haven't already. And very different to this one. So it was you. I don't want to say spitballing because it was quite well polished, but it was talking about how we don't really talk about how people burn out. That might be oversimplifying things a bit. Rather than me talk about it, why don't you give us the skinny? Because I think it's related to this sleep idea and lack of sleep, and people expanding and then not realising that one of the stresses is going to be on their body. Am I butchering this badly enough?
You know what? You probably know more about what I said than I did, because and you're very. I was saying again, it's very grand to call it a podcast. For anybody who's listening, this is not a podcast. I was saying before, this is like this is me on my iPhone doing a voice note, and it started off as voice notes to my friend Katie. So shout out Katie, and just like talking about business and also growing business as a parent, which I don't ever come across that much. It's always seems to be men, and Seedball has grown really, really big. My property stuff that grew really big, and so I've always trying to look for people who could kind of inspire me and I could learn from to get through this. So I couldn't find anyone, and they're all people that seem to have no responsibility whatsoever, and they can just spend all day thinking about their ice baths or whatever they are doing and bulletproof coffee. And I just realized that's not for me. So it's a voice note. often you can perhaps hear a dog in the background, or a child might interrupt it, and then it's just uploaded to Spotify. And this was probably, I think I've done a few talking about this idea of regulating your nervous system, or nervous system protection, or burnout, because that happened to me. I went a million miles an hour, especially when I was first building the portfolio, which was, I think it's 11 years ago in August that I started. So when I first started building that portfolio, I was terrified of the commitment that I'd made financially, of the fact that I had a credit card for the first time in my life. Like, just really, really, like, and also I'm like, they're introverted, like would never really answer the phone or anything like that. Super academic, super nerdy academic. So that's where I've come from. I had to really push myself so far in my comfort zone that I just sort of followed almost the advice that's out there, which is, you know, you hustle hard. This person lived off 5 hours sleep. This person did this. You know, when you're looking on Instagram, that's what you see when you're an entrepreneur. So I followed it to the T, to the point that I actually found pretty much my whole body did collapse on me. And I have something called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which I didn't really know about. I knew that I'd have little flare-ups every now and then, but it affects your like connective tissue and stuff. So I literally would find myself unable to use my hands, unable to walk. I really burnt myself out. So I do a lot of focus now on making sure everything's much more in balance. So everything now that I've built is on a really good system that doesn't massively involve me. So my littlest daughter is just turned 8, and I did my last big business, started the emergency housing business, which was really big. I've just wound it down 7 years ago, and that didn't really require me at all. That was pretty much a remote side hustle business, even though was a big thing. And yeah, so I sort of removed myself from the trying to control everything, trying to control every single thing out there, move myself out of it.
I'm a control freak.
Because I thought I was so scared things would go wrong, you know?
Right. Okay, so that there's lots of questions that come out of that, which is good because that's my job. Thank God for that, Which is, if someone's listening who's either just become successful and is currently lying down on their bathroom floor thinking I'm going to need about 9 hours here before I can turn this water off, or you know, maybe over the horizon 6 months, 12 months, can see that they're putting in the right movements and they might become successful. So that there may be people there or getting towards what you're talking about. And what you're talking about happened to me, and I think I'm still a lot of people. Usually at the point of success, because your body, it's the first time you got to have a break. It's not a good time to have a break, but your body kind of crests the hill and goes, right, well, we've got to have a break. You know, it's not optional now. We've sort of been holding this off for as long as we can, so like collapse for a bit and then maybe go again. There's that kind of break in the graph, and then then it hopefully goes up again. Okay, well, so what can people do to avoid what you went through, or maybe improve it? You talked about their systems, but all right, what does that look like? What's someone supposed to do today to improve their lot when they get to this point?
When they get to the point of success, how to do that? You see, it's hard.
Success / collapse.
/ collapse all. So I have spent a lot of time thinking about this, and I didn't need to do it the way that I did it, which was all in and reducing my hours of sleep and just the absolute, just always being constantly on, right? So I think the minute that you notice that you are unable to switch off at all from what you're doing, and that perhaps you are making decisions that other people, you know, I think I had a quote up. I don't even know if I've got it around me. I had a quote that was basically, if people tell me to rest or something, then they're stupid. I think I had some really strange quotes around me. And I would just say to you, if people tell you to rest, maybe do. And it's okay. If you are swimming, to take a little break and just sit down on the side of the shore just for a minute, because you'll still get there and you'll probably get there much better. So I went really fast and I did have to stop, probably really stop for about a year or something. I was unable to really do anything productive at all. So the advice I would say to people is read the E-Myth and the Slight Edge, and try and really think about what you are putting into your mind and who the people are that you are listening to. And that's really massive in the world of social media, because I see a lot, and I know a lot of people now because I've been in all this world for a long time. A lot of people putting out this hustle culture are not as successful as you perceive them to be. And it's almost like they are spouting something and just regurgitating that and showing you that, and that is not necessarily the truth of what's happening. So think about who you're listening to, what goes into your mind. It's the same way that you would think about what fuel you put into your body. And, you know, you would, on the whole, try and fuel yourself with good stuff. I'm not saying always, you don't have to always be fueling yourself with good stuff, but you need to think about, what is it? Who are you listening to? What advice are they giving you? And where are you getting that advice from? And E-Myth is quite a good one, because you can kind of work out how to not do everything and to pass some things on, and that it's totally okay if some people are not going to do it as perfect as you or as good as you. So I think that that's something that I would say, rather than me trying to do absolutely everything and control everything. So for example, when I was sourcing properties, I would just control the whole entire process, make sure there was never any chance for a failure in that process. So the build, I'd keep an eye on them, make sure that we knew exactly what was going into each of the houses. I'd manage the entire solicitor process. I'd even managed writing the refinance pack for people on the BRRRR, heaven knows what. That's probably a typo, you know.
It's either a typo or you've invented a new strategy. We need to think about what the R's could mean.
Yeah, there's so many R's in there. What was I doing? It could have been buy, refurb, refinance. So there was another R, and it was like rent to rent. There's another thing that I did. Then I'd
so buy, refurbish, refinance, rent to rent.
It out to someone else. Yeah. So
that's still only 3 R's. You've got 4.
How many have I got? Rent to rent with the 2 R's. I don't know, guys. I'm making this up.
But you have to, you know, put it in the comments, please. If anyone can work out what the R's all are. I think we've got 4 R's. Reposition, reschedule it.
Just reschedule.
Busy
guys,
today.
Go on holiday.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that was 4.5 hours away from me when I was sourcing. So yeah, I just drive up at 6 in the morning and do the refurbs, do probably 12 viewings a day, and then come back down, just not sleeping. But you can schedule, when we're talking about this, you really can create systems for everything. It is better to spend your time sharpening the axe. That's that famous quote that you perhaps should be listening to, rather than going straight on it in. Think about what you're doing, follow a system that also includes you as a human being, that also includes empathy, like for you as a human being, that you're going to have times where you feel a bit down or something's gone wrong, or, you know, the kids are ill. I remember really stressing out when the kids were ill, and that's ridiculous because they're always ill. As soon as they go into nursery, they're just ill constantly. And I've got 3, so they're just tag teaming in and out. And actually, that, instead of thinking that's a problem, think that's the norm. So therefore, just build that into the time instead of panicking about it.
So how do you build a system that takes emotion or humanity into account? How do you do that? Are you talking about lots of nice pink hearts and things drawn on the system, or what are we talking about here?
Just allowing space. I think it's allowing space in these things. I think that if you are creating space for other people to manage things, okay, that in this case it's the kids are going to be off, right? So my system at this point is point A, if I must do stuff, then do it at nap time, or I do it without too much, or I get up early on those days instead of all the time. Or I've got a system of people who I can pull in and rely on, so that I can trust them a little bit more and say, this is happening. I need you to run stuff more. We've done that a lot with Seedball as well now, where we're like, okay, we're basically going to be off for summer. So at this point, it's going to be, I think we're going to have like, Joe, Kaz, you take the lead at this point, and Mika's going to be off here because she's got to go see her family and somebody's ill in Serbia. So here, it's built into the system, it's built into your contract that, go, you've got a problem, don't worry. We've got someone that's got your back, someone that's pre-trained in what you're doing, so that other people know. It's simply the same as like if you're on stage, you've got understudies, that it doesn't have to be you in the main role of every single thing.
How do you, I had one recently where I think I took that too far, but I welcome your thoughts on it. Maybe there's no such thing as too far. Without going into tedious long grass, it was something where there's that old phrase, isn't there? You got to delegate, not abdicate. So I think I gave up not only the job, but I also gave up the oversight. So is the balance of that is when you're giving the job to whoever it might be, that you decide, okay, I'm giving the job to the person, but either needs checking, or I need to decide what the critical points are. For example, if you're talking about a sourcing business, then it's the day of purchase or the day we finish the reverb or something. And on those, the sort of red line points, I need to be there, you need to be there, checking those bits. So you're still in the game, you just skin it out a lot to massively reduce the time. Is that fair, or am I still micromanaging?
No, that's perfect. I think that is perfect. And you know what? I think that's such an amazing analogy, because actually this idea, this delegate or abdicate is like a sign of burnout, really, and if I look back now, I can see that so much. I was either running everything or nothing at all. Nothing at all. And just almost ignoring it like it didn't exist. Like and that happened as a disaster. It's not just me as well. Like, so I came through academia. I was a really close group of friends, and they all became professors very high up. We were all really productive, all pushing each other all the time. Pretty much all of them just had mental breakdowns. And basically, you could see it happening, the same pattern. They were either
does this story have a happy ending, by the way?
Yeah, we're all fine.
Okay.
We're all fine, guys. But no, I said
stick with it, guys.
Twitching the eyes. No, but you could see the patterns, right? Because it'd be like they replied to emails within 1 second, or a message within 1 second, or where have they gone?
Nothing.
Drop the ball, man. No emails, no messages, no nothing. And I see it with myself. I used to, like, if I look back, I'd be like, God, I'm either like constantly on replying to people on Instagram constantly, or I'm just gone. So yeah, you need to learn the art of delegating effectively. So we have a system in place now, which also is in the property stuff. So it's across the whole board, where I've written it out. There's all these departments. We check in with the guys that run our Amazon ads, like once a week or something. I check in with each of the departments, the people who are stocking stuff, checking in with our emergency housing team. We always have a meeting on a morning, on a Monday, check in on this. So there are systems for absolutely everything. And I also systemized it in my email. So, that idea of check in at lunchtime, check in at 5, stop checking it all the time. Like, you're just going to give yourself a heart attack. Like, there's nothing that important. And if there's something wrong with the roof on your house, tell you, someone's going to ring you. They're not going to just let that roof fall in. So it's let go of a bit so that you can hold it for longer.
Yeah, so did you get that email about my roof? Because it fell in last week. So
roof falling.
We really need to know if someone's coming to fix it, because we can't go upstairs. Someone will probably ring you. So someone said to me once, oh, you're a landlord. Said, how do you deal with it when there's a fire and someone calls you? I said, if there's a fire, people don't call me. That's why we've got a fire department. I've not got a little red engine or anything. I mean, I'll find out about it, but it's usually after some other people have sorted it out for me. So yeah.
For sure. It's knowing that the emergency stuff is not going to come to you. The proper emergency stuff. And if I do not self-manage, I used to self-manage when I started off doing rent to rent. So my whole way of starting in property to make money from nothing was rent to rent. And I used to freak out, be like, what if there's a fire? What if there's a flood? And then I had that epiphany where I'm like, well, they'll ring 999, not me. But yeah, I think it's that idea for other people that are self-managing, that it's okay to, tell people to WhatsApp you, not to ring you. Tell people, then create these automatic systems where you can say, here, check the boiler pressure first before you think your boiler's not working. To have those kind of systems, so you're not constantly on high alert. But for me, I need a letting agent. Yeah,
it does help you to relax. I've found over the years, speaking to lots of successful people, that there's very, very few. There's that old saying that millionaires don't bowl over 100 in temping bowling. It's a very American sort of phrase because there's not many people in UK bowl at all. And the idea being that successful people have their time sort of sorted out. And I found the same is true with email. Maybe the inverse, which is very few successful people check their emails that often. Why? Because it's not very productive. If you break your tasks down A through E, I've forgotten where I've nicked that from. Probably somewhere famous. And then you look at your A and B tasks, the important ones. Email's not on it. It's not even close. It needs doing. It's often urgent, but it's never very rarely important. So it's I find successful people don't do that. So if you're listening to this and you're still checking your email a lot, think about how you can slowly over time reduce that. Don't try and do it all at once. It's hard. But do try and, maybe have a think about how can I not check it for a couple of hours a day at least, and start off on that road, and you'll find it's amazing how it, in my opinion, impacts productivity.
And also your nervous system, because it's scanning for danger. If you're just checking your emails or checking your phone, people who pick up the phone all the time. If you find that you're checking your phone, you're checking your WhatsApps all the time, it's actually that you're in some kind of high alert state where you're just expecting some disaster. So there's that kind of thing that's coming in as well. That it has a consequence. It just builds you up. So you're going to pop.
Yeah. I found the other day, so I'm conscious of that. I think Anne's probably doing better than me with this, but I realised that when I got up in the morning, I was often, I'm lucky enough to travel quite a lot, so there's often a time difference to the UK, so often there'll be a glut of messages when I wake up in the morning, because it'll been overnight or whatever, so I'll have missed a few business hours in the UK, and I found that I was waking up, walking through to where I put my phones, which is in another room. You should definitely do that if you don't already, so don't charge your phone in the same room as you sleeping, but I'd walk through it first thing and check all my messages, and part of that's like, I wonder what my friends are up to, but yeah, part of that was definitely has something gone wrong, have I got a problem to solve, and it's like that's a horrible way to start the day. So now it's a small change, but these small changes add up, so whatever it's for you. So now I do it after breakfast, and I find that whatever it is is going to wait till I've had toast and banana.
So true.
Yeah.
There's John Rowe, is it who's it that I'm listening to, something in the morning, that's like how you start your morning is how your basically your whole life will go. The difference between the successful and the unsuccessful people. And let me add into that the caveat: successful is alive still and functioning, not just like super great businesses and properties and stuff. Successful is thriving, and that is, you control your morning. The morning doesn't control you. So I've always done the miracle morning thing, where you do you've done savers, where you do silence, affirmations, visualization. It's a really nice routine that just means that I feel like I'm in charge.
I've never done that. I'm sort of aware of the miracle morning. I've never done that, just in case, because people are going to message me and say, "What? She only got halfway through. What's ER and S? What's the second half?" People are going to want to know.
Reading and scribing. So silence. I usually do, and I do a shortened version. So I nearly always just do 5 minutes, just silence. Yeah. Then I've got 5 affirmations that I do. I used to do loads. And then visualize where I want to be in life, and like also emotionally. So the whole thing, I try and visualize that, and then exercise. I go for a run usually. Read something on stoicism. Actually, has been the best thing for me. A good daily stoic. And then scribing. So I just write down my goals or the main important things that I need to get done. And
There
then
you go.
those are the main things. Keep the main thing the main thing. So don't, I was terrible for just adding more to my list. But just a few, you're fine. Just the main
Yeah, yeah.
things.
Yeah, that's right, isn't it? And that links back to like just picking those A and B type things and sticking with those. I've got it's based on an old story, but I've got at the top of my to do list. It just says try and fill your life with rocks,
Yeah.
meaning the big important things, not sand, not the nonsense. Because if you fill a pot with sand, it'll still fill up, but you're missing out all the good stuff, which is the big rocks. So yeah, pick the one thing and then stick with it.
Massively important. And the 80/20, you know?
Mm,
Across the board, if you're just looking at everything's in 80/20. There's no
mm.
point. Like 20% of the things that I do are going to bring in 80% of my revenue. So what's the point in doing anything else? Quite happy to then go for a dog walk or hang out with the kids or spend time in my garden. And actually, now my children, if you ask them what I do, they'd probably say I don't do anything. They'd be like, nah, I don't think she just gardens. She bakes.
Yeah,
Very,
yeah.
very grandma core, I think.
Yeah, and I can't speak for anyone else, but for me, that's a big, large part of the dream. If like I remember, I was play football on a Friday and chatting with the guys there. We go for a drink after, and I've known someone for 20 years, and one of the guys said last week, like, "What do you do though?" Because and again, I took that as a massive compliment because, well, it's a bit sad that he doesn't know because he's got zero interest in my life. But on the flip side, is he clearly thinks correctly. I think that I've got a reasonable amount of free time and a reasonable amount of freedom. I've still got stuff to do, by the sounds of it, so have you. But I can sort of choose when that goes in. And I can choose when, So just earlier today we decided we're going to have a week off somewhere and going to have a travel, and I'm well aware that's a freedom not a lot of people have, and I'm very grateful for that. But you have to sort of put the right amount, not the right amount of work in, but the right sort of work in to do that, to get to that place.
Yeah, and I wish everybody was in that place. It's just
Yeah,
it's amazing
that's
it's
a great place to be.
amazing, and to have
Yeah.
great gratitude for that. I did get there in a pretty painful way, and I could have done it in a much gentler way. And I would obviously recommend everyone else takes the gentle route, but you're still 80%. If I'd just done 20% of what I did back then, I'd have been fine and kept going. So yeah, what a place to be.
Yeah. People aren't going to forgive me if I don't ask. You probably talked about this on your podcast. Probably save you answering this question if I go listen to your podcast. But no one's going to forgive me on the property side. If I have someone on who's done whatever it was, some crazy number of deals and sourcing and this and that. I realise this was a while ago now. And it's like you had someone on your property podcast and you didn't ask him a damn thing. I wonder if you do. So
just talk about nervous system.
yeah, just went on about nervous system and savers. What's wrong with you? So if you wouldn't mind, just talking a little bit about that. So someone's out there going, well, this is good, but I'm just starting out in property. I'm doing some sourcing, and I'm struggling because this is what we get a lot on the mentoring. People will turn up and say, I'm finding it really difficult. It's difficult to find the right properties at the right price, classic stuff like that. And it is, by the way, when you're starting off, same as anything's hard when you start off. And meanwhile, you're doing, was it 100 deals in a year and 200 deals and this and that? How did you do that, and how can other people copy your success?
So it is actually pretty simple. It's not easy, right? Like anything in life, it's a little bit like going to the gym, right? You've got to turn up, you've got to put your reps in. And it's a numbers game. So I think we've probably heard this. How many have I viewed? Probably over 1,000 houses, right? Now I've got a spreadsheet of them. So everything's in a system. Every single house that I've ever viewed is in the spreadsheet. Everything I've offered on them is in the spreadsheet. So not only have I done 200 deals, I sourced 100 in just over a year, and they were quite a lot of those were what we call money in, money out. For anyone who's familiar, where basically you pull out all your money on the refinance, and that included my sourcing fee, actually, because I am a super nerd. So back in the day when I was an academic, I was also teaching statistics. So bear in mind that this is who you're talking to. But yeah, sociable scientist, I suppose, is what I say. So you need to pick your area correctly, okay? And unfortunately, for a lot of people, that is not going to be close to your house, right? So you need to know what your price point is. I found 5 areas that fit a very low price point because I had no money whatsoever, right? So I didn't go out to source. I never meant to be a sourcing agent, ever. I meant to get deals for me. So I think if you're really effective, it's just a side affect almost the sourcing to get that many deals out. Pick 5 areas. I pre-ran the numbers on Rightmove, looked at what your done up value is, looked at what was on the market, and estimated a kind of refurb to give me an idea of whether they were worth going to. I visited those 5 areas and I spoke to the letting agents and the estate agents. I spoke to at least 5 in each area and wrote down what they said and told them to mark on a map no-go areas, the best areas, places that will rent out quickly. And I asked them to give me the names of 5 builders to speak to, or handymen. And I said, I don't want the expensive guys. I want like a mixture. Who's going to be giving me a good cheap refurb? Who's going to give me high quality? Give me a mixture. And then I basically shortlisted from that a couple of areas, and I went up and I started in Teesside because I'd taught at Teesside Uni, right? So I've been to Teesside Uni as a lecturer, and I missed being in Yorkshire, as you can tell, the Yorkshire accent. So I missed being up north, and I was in London. So I didn't mind that 4.5 hours because it was quite nice to just go back almost home and have that vibe. Then in the area, be in the area. I would always get the train. You need, it's a P, there's 2 P's in property, and it's problems and people. So you are solving people's problems and you need to speak to people. So I would walk the streets, get the train up, walk the streets, get the buses to places, listen to conversations with people, sit with someone's nan on the bus. She knows what houses are for sale, and basically get known and go straight in and make friends with estate agents. So the first time you're going up, you want to book 5 to 10 viewings with the same estate agent. And if possible, get them to drive you around, get to know about what the kids are doing at school, get to know about their lives, what the similarities are between you, and build friendships with people on a proper level. Because also they get points for showing you houses that even don't fit your strategy. You know, some of them, they're just like, oh, you know, would you come see this house, Anna? Because no one's viewing it. Come and have a look around, and at least it makes me look good to my boss. And some of those people that I saw back in the day, they're now running the estate agents, or they have their own estate agents. So over time, those relationships compound. So the second time you go to another estate agent, do the same thing. Don't ever go on a weekend. And I know some of you are going to say, you have to go on a weekend because it's your job. So I was very lucky that I used rent to rent to get me sourcing. I used the rent to rent income to go up on a Tuesday. You're going to see the right people in the estate agents on a Tuesday to Thursday. Friday, no one wants to work. Monday, they can't be asked with you. So don't do it. Just be really, it's all statistics, this, I swear. I just follow it to the T. You'll win. Like, go on a Tuesday is the best day. Wednesday's also a good, but I have checked statistically, I got the most deals on a Tuesday. I don't know why. Maybe because they're really motivated for the week ahead. There'll be some psychology in it. So the next time you go, you're going to go to another estate agent. Your main aim for the first 5 times you go will be going around all the estate agents and becoming friends with at least one person in that estate agent that you can email, and you can say, hi Mary, hi Mark, how are you doing? I'm up again, blah blah blah. You've got a relationship with them. Bring in chocolates, talk to them, have a natter, and be approachable. Don't be the big I am investor. Never be a big I am investor. People don't like that, you know. And the amount of times that I heard about people being just, you know, oh look, Anna, who's this arsehole that's come up? Do you know him? And I used to know a lot of people because I ran a networking event down in London, we were saying. So I'll get asked about it a lot. So you want to come up humble. You don't want to come up in your flashy car. If you've got a flashy car, don't come up in it. If you've got a second car that's crap, go in your crap car. And just be humble, like drive into the areas, get to know the areas, then max out your viewings. Another thing I find is people are just not viewing enough. This is a numbers game. So you want to be viewing 8 to 12 a day. You want to be viewing every half hour. You want to be with a viewing crib sheet. I've got a crib sheet on my website that you can download that tells you, basically print it out. Don't care what people think. Have it on your iPad if you want, but you just look like a fancy asshole. So print it out and just seem like a normal person, and tick with ask, is the damp, what is this situation with this house? Is it probate? Ask the proper questions, write down if the boiler's old, write down everything, take photos of everything so that you can then reanalyze it later. And the reason I'm telling you that is because those 5 builders that I asked you to get to know them properly. Ask them to come around the house with you. And also don't act like you know everything. Ask them questions, make them feel like they're important because they are, you know? So my best builder that I've ever worked with, John, he was running like 8 teams a month. We were doing 10 refurbs a month with him. Proper nice guy. He knew like the codes of specific wallpaper rolls, like salt of the earth, amazing person. He'd come with me, tell me everything. We'd fill in the spreadsheet together. But also those items on my crib sheet, you'd get numbers for. So I could say to them, right, how much exactly will it cost me to replace the fuse board, to do half a rewire, to do a full rewire, to do the boiler, every single item, plaster the whole house, just every single item on there, get a number for it for your own spreadsheet, so that when you eyeball things on Rightmove, you can actually really accurately estimate the refurb before you even go into anything. So it goes back to that sharpen the sort of thing I was saying before, sharpen the axe, where you know more or less that you've got a deal straight away, right? So you've got those numbers, run all the numbers. Do not put an offer in straight after you've been to a house. The amount of times I hear that as well, oh, I've offered immediately. It's a psychological game, property. So don't seem like you're desperate. Try not to seem like you're desperate. Even if you are, as hard as that is, don't answer the estate agent's phone call the next day when they want your feedback. And I know that might seem strange to you, but just don't. Like, you're just too busy. You've got too many properties. You've got too much money. You don't need them. That's the way that they will see you. Don't seem desperate. Then email your offer in, which is what I did, so that you can reach capacity. So if you on a Tuesday, run my numbers on a Wednesday very casually. Ring up John, ask him a few questions, maybe have a natter about his wife and how she's doing. Then on Thursday, email in offers, and your offers, be respectful. They're obviously going to be very, very low offers because you're always going to go for no. Like, I was so upset if I got a yes. If I got a yes, I'd pretty much withdraw the offer and then be like, oh no, actually I've spent my money, and come back later and be like, oh, I've got a bit of cash now, and re-offer lower. And you want to make sure that you're being respectful, so that you do not want to put your new friends, the estate agents, in a crap situation, because they are going to hate you for it. So you need to say something really nice in your email, like, oh, I know this is going to sell. I know you're going to do really great with this, and I'm really sorry, but I forgot what it was on for. I forgot what price you put it on for. So I've just done my numbers based on what I can see on Rightmove that's sold recently. And then I spoke to John, and this is what my refurbs come through at. And you are going to abdicate from responsibility of upsetting people. So running this, you're not the big I am in anything. You're like, oh, this is going to cost so much money. Here's what I got told it's going to cost. And here's what I saw on Rightmove. If I'm wrong, can you show me some more comps that show me, oh, yeah, it's worth this much money? And they will send you comps if they want, but because they won't be offended. And then you can also say, if you don't want to put this forward, totally fine, just keep it on the table. And they probably will put it forward. And then you can ring up and follow up if you want after, or they'll email you back. But it allows you to be quite systemized. So in that system that I've just told you, it meant that I also had a tracker of what I'd offered what week. And so that meant that if I was going to view 12 properties, I'd probably put 10 offers in. You want to put 12 offers in ideally, and you want them low. But also I was still offering on ones from 3 or 4 weeks back. So I was putting in about 40 offers a week eventually, because you're filling a hopper up. And you've got a spreadsheet that's tracking all of this, what you offered, what the estate agent said. You want to find out if there's any more offers on the table in a very, they will tell you if they like you. If you've done this right, you'll find out what the offers are. And you want to log it on your thing. You also want to see what that house was sold for previously, because this is a people game. So the person is not going to sell you their house. They will really struggle to sell you a house for 50 grand if they have accidentally bought it at 70 or 60, you know? But if they bought that house at 40, your offer at 50 is really likely to get accepted. You are really onto a high win with that. So you already know from the right move what they bought it at, whether you're more likely to get an offer or not. So you need to have that out. So I often had about 40 live offers at a time, kept on spreadsheet, used through emails, and being very, very humble. And that meant that out of those 40 offers, I would eventually get like about 10 coming off. It was in the highest, you know. So we said in a year over 100. It's a numbers game. It took me 3 months to get my first one to come off, right? And that is with going up every single week. So there was no chance for this to fail. I had to go up every single week, even with my little ones, make sure that all worked. On a Tuesday, sometimes I'd have what I call like booster weeks, where I'd go and I'd stay for 3 days in the cheapest hotel I could find with my pot noodles packed in my backpack. And that's it, not spend any money because I hadn't got any money to spend. And it took me 3 months for my first deal to come off. And the first deal that I got to come off was incredible. And it was amazing, but I had no money. So I found a joint venture partner. I wasn't looking to source stuff, as you'll remember. So it took me 3 months of doing this all the time. I came out, my joint venture partner, so excited. They were bringing the money, I was bringing the deal. And then they just binned me out of nowhere. They just binned me, and I'm still gutted because that bloody property upsets me. I got it agreed for like 36 grand. It had a 10 grand refurb, and I've still track it on Rightmove. So it's sold 3 times now, no, 2 times. And it's like sold for 60 grand, and then it sold for like 70 recently. It's so frustrating, but fine. That meant I had to go, and I literally put it on a Facebook group, and I said, got this property, anybody want it? And then lo and behold, the next week 2 more came off out of my hopper, like little buses, and then they all started lining up. And then I got such good shocking deals because I had no money, that these deals had to be low, that basically there was about 30 people on the Facebook group that wanted the deal. So yeah, I picked this guy who was I could choose who I wanted to work with. So I picked somebody who I knew was a proper person that was buying stuff, that had really good networks, that would help me find more sourcing clients, and which to get the other deals off the table, and partnered with him. And it was from that point that I had another system, which meant that I didn't try and find a client all the time. I would try and go to a networking event, work with 2 or 3 people from there that I really got to know and trust, that were really, really good people, that, you know, they want to reach their financial freedom figure, which for most people is really low anyway. It's like 2.5, 3 grand, you know. And I'm not saying that in a rude way. Like my financial figure was probably like 1,500, guys, because I have got very low standards. And I am not fancying the least. I am the last that was so excited about a pound pub in Stockton. Like, there's no fanciness, and I can't get fancy. I've tried. Success has come. I tried to be fancy. It did not suit me. I had to downgrade quite quickly.
What was the fanciest thing you did? Did you get a Ferrari, or was it just like a nice glass, or what did you get?
Really
a hat?
No, I've got a really, really nice house in a really, really nice area in London, and a really nice car.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I did. I got them things. And then I really didn't like any of
Was it a
it.
4x4?
And I just am like, you know what? It's not for me. It's none of that's for me. I'm not. And I made a really good friends. I was went to a fancy networking event in central London, and ended up making really good friends with the guy CEO of Balfour Beatty. You know, like the big construction company. Because he's like me, and we were like, shall we just bin this and go and get chips? So we did. But yeah, that's a life lesson, isn't it, in itself, to just be you no matter what. And it being me and being not a big I am got me all the deals. But as you can see, it's a system, and it's also about following specific sort of steps in it and keeping that spreadsheet. So keep everything in a spreadsheet. And also, nothing until that property is sold, it still could be yours. And I've got tracking and that. Most took me 4 to 5 offers to get the deal accepted on a property. Right? So maybe you've stopped offering too early to a lot of people who think they're not getting deals. Until it's gone, it's not gone. And even then it might come back to you. So very often I would keep emailing, even if sale is agreed, and said, if that falls through, you can trust me. I've got my solicitors, I've got everything. You've dealt with me before. So I would email on everything. If there was a repossession agreed, I also would never gazump anyone on a repossession ever, because I want people to do well in life. But I would say to the estate agent, if that guy that's new, that says they've got all the cash, and they're probably, I know, on the Facebook groups trying to sell the deal, if that falls through, come to me, and it's gone, and that's it.
With those 4 or 5 offers you were making, were they always increased offers, or was it sometimes just reposting the same 40 grand? Just saying, just a reminder, it's the same offer.
No, it would sometimes be like that. Yeah, It's a reminder, it's this. Basically, repost until, think of it like fishing. Repost, the same offer. One day they will bite. They'll come back and they'll be like, well, not that offer, but I'll offer you a bit more. Like, what about like this? And then the game begins then. So basically you're just throwing your fishing rod in so that they bite and come back and say, actually, you annoying woman, I want 2 grand more. And you're like, well, 2 grand, man, I've been offering 4 grand lower than I wanted anyway. Like, you find it quite often. So basically that would be a conversation on the phone. And then I'd often ghost people again. Like that, the not seeming too desperate, I think, is a really important thing for this, which is very hard when you are desperate.
I also think it's especially for newer people who are starting up, and I know because I did this, and I think most people do, is when you don't know anything, or I'm exaggerating slightly, but you're new to the game, which obviously everybody is at the start. I turned up in the sharp suit, or tried to, and again, it wasn't me. Lasted about a week, but so I got mud all over the suit from the gardens and things. Anyway, but you turn up and be like, oh yes, I know about this and I know about this, and you're doing it because you're insecure. So you're trying to show that you know everything because you're worried they're going to find you out as a fraud, which is absolutely logical, because they might do, because you are, but only when you realise, but this isn't working, and the reason it's not working is because you're not helping them to have a good time, and how they have a good time is that they want to show someone serious around, but they also want you, they like everybody does, feeling like they're useful and like they can help you with something. People like helping other people. When someone helps an old lady or an old man across the road, it's usually the helper rather than the helper who gets the most out of it. I know I get, I try and help, I'm strong enough, I can lift up heavy bags, and I get a lot. I was saying to someone, no, I'll get these, I can do this, let me help you with these bags. And it's the same with that. So by turning up and being a bit more humble and not pretending you know everything, and if you've got a builder with you, letting them tell you about what building stuff is, which of course you want to know, but rather than going, oh no, I know about this, like, what are you doing? You're killing your deal, and you're not helping anything. So that's one of the quickest ways to make things more effective, I think, which is good.
Absolutely massive. This thing of like fake it until you make it. We've hear it loads of times. I've heard it recently, and I was like, no. In fact, be the opposite. Really, the amount of times people forget that I have a PhD. Like, you can go back to the beginning of that preamble. Like, I was one of the youngest lecturers in the UK. I published like 25 papers in a year, like massive. But people forget that I'm clever because I basically spend my whole time walking around going, nah, could you explain this? Like, what do you mean about this? Like, but that is me naturally. That is probably leaning into that. People want to help you. And they will help you more the more they think you need help, and the more you seem nice and humble. I think I know only one other person that's probably sourced as many properties as I have. Also don't know that many people who've done about 200 deals, like, even though properly stopped and burnt out. I don't know that many people who've done that either. Like, it's like I looked up and I looked around and I went, oh, okay. And I did very much the opposite of what a lot of people are taught, you know, like this. When I started in rent to rent, I had a really rich landlord. Like, he was amazing, and he turned up in a banged up Ford Fiesta and the crappiest tracksuit bottoms you've ever seen in your life. And my God, what are those trainers doing? They could walk themselves to the washing machine. Just mad. You would never know. He was young. It was like just about 30, I guess. He was young. Like, and he had 3 or 4 restaurants in central London. Like, when I came out that super fancy hotel that I was telling you about and went and got chips with the Balfour Beatty guy, his posh restaurant was over the road, so I could have gone and got Ash as well, because Ash would have left his posh restaurant to go and get chips. I just thought, you know what, this idea of the millionaire next door is not far off. The fancier people look, often the less fancy they really are. I think that's interesting.
I think it's fascinating. I've got no idea how long we've been recording this, but it feels like a while. So we should let the good people go about their business. But before they do, because I could stay on for ages. But it is almost as because I'm fascinated by it, and I imagine other people are as well. I think I'm right in saying that these days, amongst your other exploits, you sort of buy up bits of land, and I've always wanted to buy up bits of land. My dream is to buy bits of land and then plant trees on them. But the problem is a lot of land already has trees on it. But anyway, you can always put more trees on. You know, it's a nice problem to have. And if it's got trees on it, just stop other people chopping down the trees is a good starting point. So, how has that been going for you? And what's the point of it? And why are you doing that? And what tips have you got for those of us out there who'd like to buy some land but haven't done it yet?
Yes, how's it going? Really well now, because I've got quite a few businesses and they all give money to Project Maya, and you can look at mayaproject.org, which does that. And that is my land buying, also does environmental campaigning, that kind of thing. So that's now a system where that just feeds in money that can buy a nature reserve a year, which sounds insane. And we've got our first one. And that itself, we're just letting it rewild. So I'm just doing a rewilding thing. I did think about planting trees on it, but it's old farmland. And in fact, if my Instagram stories are probably live, we went and checked on it the other day. And it's got an area at the bottom which is woodland with a pond in it, loads of amphibians around, and there's vole holes that have just appeared in the field that used to be so manicured, but now it's absolutely mad. There's wild grass, there's burdocks, and I was thinking about whether I move some of the baby trees from the woodland out, so we just start expanding it that way. So how did I do it? Is, you know, some people want that Ferrari and some people want that Dubai life, and that's great for them, right? And I have always just wanted to save the world in a really cheesy ass way, being the biggest tree hugger that you probably have ever met in all ways. And all my research was environmental conservation. And the reason I started Seedball is because I wanted to get people to save bees, and I realized the most effective way to do that, and I was trying to influence government's not going to listen to me, and I got all those papers published because I thought people will listen to them, and they didn't read them. So then I started a training company trying to train people to do stuff, which worked better but didn't really change the world. I realized if you want to change the world, you have to do it yourself. So what about, let's see if we can get rich as an experiment, because people said you couldn't do that and it's really hard, and I tell you what, you can bloody do that. And you can do that and remain a good person and have massive impact, and have a proportion of all of my sourcing income went to Maya Project. A good proportion. A proportion of my training income goes to Maya Project. A proportion of Seedball goes to Maya Project. In fact, Maya Project is a shareholder in Seedball, so it's officially has to get that as we've got bigger. So every single thing that I ever do basically just feeds into that buying of land for protecting them. So the next ones I want to do, we were joking and saying, oh, do you get them in urban areas, whatever. I want to have them in urban areas. because I like that idea of like, where did those philanthropists go that bought the libraries, that bought the parks? You know, where are they? Why are all these billionaires trundling off just doing on the yachts and that, right? Like, what? Why are there nobody like me that just wants to put more flowers in the world? And then I thought, well, if there's nobody like you out there, well, you best go and be you then out there. And so if somebody's listening and you're like, you want to put libraries out, or you want to do another thing that I've done is built a big emergency housing business. Who's housing the homeless? Oh, I just think, God, someone should do something about that. Well, then if I think, God, someone should do something about that, then I should do something about that. And it's just one step in the front of the other every single day, isn't it? You know, and I find it easier to make money, a lot of money, if it's not for me, because I don't need it. I'm very, very happy with my bag of chips. So why would I want any more? So I think that's just, and you know, life is lovely. I can spend as much time as I want walking on the South Downs or whatever I want to do. That's what I like. Or travel if I want. Do it, but live in a very simple life, just with friends and family, and no major pressure. And then the rest of it is just like, how do you make as much money as you can to make the world a better place? So yeah, it's a system. Again, you know, the better all of the enterprises do, the better the world kind of does, is the thought to it, really. And the same with sourcing. Buying that many houses is massive, because you regenerate communities. Everybody knew which house I sourced because it had a hanging basket out the front. And then the neighbours started putting hanging baskets out the front. And then, you know, you got that knock-on effect there that means that the world is just a better place. The world is a better place if you do property really well. You know, what about that? Like, part of it is you're going to do well, and you get to live the life. Like, it's lovely. Live what you want to live. Like, go on the luxury holidays, be you. If you want to treat yourself to stuff, do that. But also, like, what's the higher good you can do if you just make a little bit step more? It's a lot. One person, there's a quote, the Dalai Lama: if you ever think you're too small to make a difference, try going to bed with a mosquito. And I just say to everyone, you are a mosquito. You can make a difference. And I am not that clever, despite all I've done. I just followed what the best I could do.
Well, that seems like I'm going to struggle. We're going to struggle to get to that sort of level of cerebralness or giving back, aren't we? So I think I should simply I think that's an excellent place to round things out. So I'd like to say thank you very much to Anna Attlee, if I got your second name right, for coming on the podcast. Very much appreciated. We will, of course, post your contact details various with this podcast, but people are lazy. So what's the best way for people to find you if they're looking for all the bits and pieces you're involved in? What's the quickest way?
If you pop to annaattlee.co.uk, I got very short voice note podcasts that take 5 minutes each time of me whittering on. But there's also things for you to just like download, like the crib sheet thing. Like, there's a few things on there for you to have a look at. And always, get in touch. I'm really always happy to help anyone. I think I've got some little micro training courses coming up as well, which I'll put on the website, that you can learn about.
For the dyslexics amongst you, Anna Attlee, because it could be spelled about 400 different ways, is Alpha November Alpha Tango Tango Lima echo.co.uk. Well, I hope everyone's well. Let me know if you want any other good speakers on, or not. If you don't want any more good speakers on, well, sack it. We'll go home. But I've thoroughly enjoyed sessions like today. Hope you did too, and catch you in the next one.